If things don't need to be changed, why change them? I have a secret go-to Thai spot here in Houston. It is the only place I eat Thai food from, and I only ever order takeout from that Thai food place. I also only ever order tofu pad Thai. Mild, not spicy. Never anything above mild. I can't handle it. I'll choke and I'll cry. One evening, I ran into the boy I was seeing, and he was great. He had this amazing sense of adventure and would introduce me to new places every time we hung out. So when we spoke, he asked if I was hungry, and I told him, "Don't worry, I know a spot." I didn't know how I felt about him. At this point, I didn't want to acknowledge how much I liked him. We walked through the doors of the little Thai place, and the smells of cooked meat and spice flooded the restaurant. I thought to myself, he doesn't know this is my first time sitting inside. As we chose out the table by the door, the waitress came over, greeted us, took her drink order, and afterwards we bantered, flirted. We were having fun and just looking at the menu. He asked me, "What do you recommend?" And I told him I only ever get tofu pad Thai mild. And he raised his eyebrow at me and says, "Really?" I laughed and said, "Yeah," and he proceeded to tell me, "I dare you to try something new." Now, I'm not one to back down from a challenge, and he knew that already. So I sifted through the menu till I hopped on the idea of red curry. I've had red curry once before. My old friend made it for me, and I winced at the idea that my tongue was swelling up from the spice. But that's okay, I'll just tell him to make it mild. I did just that when the waitress came up to us again, and we waited patiently for the meals to come out. When my food arrived, it was on 2 plates, one with steaming red curry and tofu and veggies inside, and one with rice formed in the shape of a heart. It smelled heavenly, but I was scared. I had only been going to that Thai place for 3 years at that point. To try something new was never on my agenda. He doesn't know that I've only ever ate this food with one other person. He and I were laughing as I scooped up a little bit of rice, and then I filled it up with curry. The spoon was making its way to my mouth when 2 men came running into the restaurant, one after the other. As one starts to yell at the other, saying something like, "I know what you stole," all while my mouth was starting to burn, I wanted to start choking. But I held it in as a mix of emotions flew into my mind. The entire restaurant went into an immediate stalemate. It was as if the famous Matrix scene was playing out right in front of my eyes, but behind my partner. I locked eyes with him, my face fell flat as I was processing everything. My spoonful of curry started to shake as my anxiety began to set in, but it was quickly shoved aside when I realized 3 things. 1, I didn't know if these men would grab him and use him as leverage. He wasn't facing them. 2, I didn't know if these men had guns. This is Texas after all. And 3, I didn't want to find out. My gaze was screaming at him to come and sit next to me, but he didn't move an inch. He just sat there with a frozen, nervous smile on his face. His stupid smile on his beautiful face. He doesn't know that you've been in this type of situation before. You see, I only ever ordered takeout from them because I found them during 2020 quarantine time. He doesn't know that my old boyfriend and I would sit on my bedroom floor and eat pad Thai. It was ritual. You know that moment everyone speaks about, how before you die you get a flash of memories reflecting your life? That's the sort of thing that happened here. Only I got a flash of what I wanted our future to look like and questions I wanted to ask him. What was your favorite home-cooked meal as a child? What's your spice tolerance like? How do you like your eggs cooked in the morning? His food hadn't come out yet, and I could see in the corner of my eye that the waitress was standing at the kitchen doorway, awaiting the next steps that these men would take. Then one of the men, the thief, bolted and made his way out the door that was across the restaurant. And the other stood for a moment, proceeded to pick up his phone to make a call, and left. Our waitress came over immediately afterwards to give my partner his food. Taking in the moments that had happened, I asked him, "Why didn't you come to my side of the table?" And what I think I was trying to say was, why couldn't you read what I was trying to say with my expression? He doesn't know that throughout the plethora of Thai dinners on my bedroom floor, my parents were fighting and arguing on the other side of the house. He doesn't know how many times I've had to call 911. He doesn't know that what I just witnessed and the way I reacted was instinct. He said, in situations like that, I try to remain calm and the same because I don't know what will happen and what if nothing escalates? my God, a new perspective. And I felt safe under that umbrella that I wasn't eating pad thai. I wasn't on my bedroom floor, and I was with someone new. I didn't know it, but that meal healed a part of me that was still traumatized from something that happened years ago. Luckily, nothing happened that night. It was just a disruption over dinner. He and I laughed it off as we ate our Thai food, of course after I took my anxiety medication. And it was no longer spicy to me as I kept eating. I just had to get used to it. And as we were leaving, I knew two things. One, trying new things isn't bad, it's just a little uncomfortable and sometimes needed. And two, I'm pretty sure I loved him.